Hill. Let's discuss with a key member of the January 6th Select Committee, Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. As you heard and as you know, at least right now, there are a few Republicans, very few, like Senator Romney, speaking up. But you say this is about the 13th time you've been censured. Why do you still want to be a member of a party that seemingly all the time now rejects you and rejects the values you uphold?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure I particularly want to be a member, but I believe, in what the Republican Party used to stand for, and I believe that the Republican Party, it's going to be around for a while. It plays a very important role, obviously, in politics, and very well may take the majority. They deserve to have the truth told to them. And right now, there's just a few of us willing to tell the base voters the truth. There's a lot of people hiding in the sand because the truth is hard and it makes their life a little uncomfortable. I think we have to fight for the soul of not just the party, but the country. We are in a real dire moment, Wolf. And I think if we don't wake up and recognize that this is more than just performance art, when we lie, when we tell people elections were stolen, this actually goes to the survival of this country in the form we know it. It's that serious. It's worth fighting for. But I tell you, I do ask myself that question every day. It's
a legitimate question. The RNC, as you know, is also trying to do some damage control after calling the January 6th insurrection. They called it legitimate political discourse in a formal public statement at their big meeting out in Utah. But watch just part of this new video just released by the U.S. Justice Department from that day. And I need to warn our viewers that this language is very disturbing.
If Pence cave, we're going to drag motherfuckers through the streets. You fucking politicians are going to get fucking drugged through the streets. Yeah. Because we're not going to have our fucking shit stolen. Because this is the second fucking revolution. We're here to take it back from you.
Cut that freaking head off.
Cut their head off.
How dangerous is it, Congressman, for the Republican National Committee to whitewash the events of that day and to simply call it legitimate political discourse?
Oh, it's extremely dangerous. And it's not even, if there was a word even more intense than dangerous, I would use that. Because when you convince people that the person talking there, obviously pretty upset, probably really believes what he's saying. And you can multiply him by hundreds of thousands or millions of people because their leaders tell them the election was stolen. Look, if the election was legitimately stolen, I'd be pretty ticked off too. That violates everything I swore to defend. And so when you convince that number of people, it is not a far thought, Wolf, to think that someday some militia shows up somewhere to do something and then some counter militia shows up. And truly, at that point, that's how you end up in a civil war. I never would say that we would ever have ended in that position, but I now believe it is a real possibility that we have to be wide-eyed as we walk into so we don't have that happen again. And anybody that thinks that sounds cool or they get to play dress up because, they somehow think it's going to be fun to go out and camp with their buddies and have a civil war, there are people that really think that. Well, the 4 or 5 heart medicines you're on, Walgreens isn't going to have them available when this place fails.
So am I hearing you?
And that's how serious this is.
Am I hearing you right, Congressman? You fear potentially there could be a civil war here in the United States?
I do. And a year ago I would have said no, not a chance. But I have come to realize that when we don't see each other as fellow Americans, when we begin to separate into cultural identities, when we begin to basically give up everything we believe so we can be part of a group, and then when you have leaders that come and abuse that faithfulness of that group to violent ends, as we saw on January 6th, we would be naive to think it's not possible here. And it's not like, the blue and gray North and the South. It just turns into violence like you see in other countries. We have to look at this wide-eyed and walk in and say we may have differences as left and right, but we have to bridge those differences because our basic survival is at stake, the basic survival of this democracy.
Wow, those are really strong words. And you heard the Republican National Committee say it was just legitimate political discourse. Congressman Kinzinger, thanks so much for joining us. And on a very, very different note, I want to show our viewers this beautiful picture. This is little Christian, your newborn son. I think he's about 3 months old now. We just want to congratulate you. It's really, really sweet, and we're really happy for you. Very, very lovely, lovely young little boy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.